Hey guys, welcome back to my Minecraft Let's Play. In today's episode, I'm using some different recording software, but I'm also going to be talking about, well, I guess I'm not talking about my new recording software, but I'm going to be discussing my thoughts on the NASCAR Next Gen car and how it's performed so far this season. Is toggle sprint, I swear. I think the darn sprint's on toggle, so why am I not doing it? Also, the frame rate is like absolutely, it's absolutely dying right now. I'm not exactly sure why that's the case, but yeah, I'm very obviously my settings are all messed up. Oh, and the game's just freezing now. This is lovely. Let me go around and play with my settings. They changed a bunch of stuff in the last update, and now everything is just horribly messed up. Um, well, that might be a bit of an issue there. Let's just turn some of this stuff down. If you want to see all of my settings and everything, here you go. I don't know why you would care to see any of that, but, you know, just putting it all out there. Controls, yeah, sprints on toggle. Oh, and also, there's some video settings. Yeah, I don't know why they had to go and, like, change everything to be completely different. Um, yeah, I don't get that. It's very, very annoying. Um, oh, okay, now toggle sprint's working, but now the video settings aren't working. Come on, where is it? Oh, did they remove that option? Don't tell me they removed the option for, like, dynamic FOV. What is cinematic? Why is there so much crap now on this game? Come on, where is it? Huh, I guess you can't turn off dynamic FOV anymore. That's lovely. As much as I despise dynamic FOV with a passion. I hate every time I sprint or I'm on speed or something. It just like completely changes your camera. Anyway, I'm just gonna go further and further away from my home, and you know just see what all's out here. But we'll see how this goes. But anyway, so in today's episode, I can finally actually get to talking about what I wanted to discuss, which is the NASCAR Next Gen car. So I know I said in my last video I was going to be talking about it, and that's what I'm going to do. So let's discuss it. So a little over the first half of the season has been completed, so I think we've got a pretty good idea on how this car races. Now I know NASCAR's been saying for the last for the last month or two, that they're considering making some changes to the next gen car, at least in regards to short track racing. Um, but I'll get into that in a minute. But for now, we'll talk about what we've currently seen out of the next gen car, and what I expect to see out of the car in the next, basically the rest of the season. So first off, I'll start with the plate package because that's what was run the most, or at the start of the season was the plate package. I personally, okay, I gotta head back because it's getting dark, and last thing I want to do is fight mobs in the jungle. Um, but so I think that it was actually the plate package is a lot better this season than I thought it was going to be, like very noticeably better. Um, so I guess that's one thing that did actually. Oh no, there's skeletons. Um, That's one thing that did surprise me, is I really just didn't think that the racing was going to be all that good at the plate tracks. But it proved me wrong. Now, the plate tracks are where we first start to see some concerns when it comes to the next-gen car. So for the Daytona 500, we saw multiple different concerns. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the biggest concern for a lot of tracks. We saw issues with wheels staying on the cars. So for years now, NASCAR, I mean like decades, NASCAR has used 5 lug nuts. So this meant that so long as you hit like 3 of them, the tire's not going to come off. You can catch the fact that the tire's not on right, and you can come in and pit. And sure, you're going to lose time on track, but it's better than what we've seen this season. This season, NASCAR's gone to a 1 lug nut tire, and we have seen almost every race a tire just completely come off the car. Now, this is because if you have a loose wheel now, the tire's just completely off the car, and there's nothing you can do about it. So first things first, and first thing I'll talk about with the next gen car. Actually, I guess I'll get into the cons first, and then I'll do the pros later. I know that seems kind of backwards, but I want to be talking about the positive features of the next gen car after I talk about the problems, because then I can talk about, you know, how to go about fixing it. So the first major issue, like I said, is the tires. The tires are a big problem with the next gen car. You know, we have 1 lug nut now instead of 5, and yeah, that's a big problem, because we're seeing now, especially the pit stops are like a couple seconds quicker now than they were before, and so there's a lot more that can go wrong. Now, this, in my personal opinion, is the greatest flaw of the next-gen car. Not specifically for the reason of, you know, it sucks for the teams that, like, just have one small issue, you know. You know, it does suck. You know, it really does suck for the teams that have an issue, and, you know, something like that happens where the tire's just not properly on the car. I don't even know why I bothered crafting a shield. I never end up using it. If it dies from the fire aspect again, like the last time, I will be very angry. Well, I guess it's gone. Oh, here he is. Yeah, he probably died from the fire aspect again. That happened the last time I tried to fight an Enderman. I might have to just fight the Enderman, like, with axes and stuff. I'm too lazy to go around and see if he teleported anywhere near. But the last couple of times I've tried to fight Enderman on this, they just, you know, they just straight up died far away. Oh, is this him? No, it's a different Enderman. I'm going to get him, though, because I need those pearls. Get over here. My aim is terrible. Oh, come on. Die already. Jeez. Yeah, see, that's what keeps happening to them. They'll teleport away and then die of the fire aspect. Oh, and I didn't even get a pearl from it. That's just lovely. Anyway, so as I was saying, the tire is the biggest issue with the next-gen car, and the specific reason is because somebody is going to die because of it. That's not a joke. It will happen at some point if this is not fixed. Anybody remember the reason why IndyCar doesn't race at Charlotte anymore? For those of you who are unaware, IndyCar tried to race at Charlotte in, I think it was the mid-2000s, and a tire came off the car, and it got launched into the stands. But yeah, a tire came off one of the cars, and then another car launched that tire into the grandstands, and it murdered, or it killed, I think, multiple fans. So this is not a, you know, a small issue. This is a serious problem that NASCAR needs to address. Oh, there's 2 of them. But yeah, this is a serious problem that NASCAR needs to address, because if they don't, there's a good chance that a fan gets, that a fan or two dies because of this. I'm not trying to over-exaggerate anything. Oh, here he is! Finally getting a trade with the darn blacksmith. Something's outside trying to get me. I don't know what that sound was, but okay. I don't have anything. Oh, yeah, I can scroll down. I forgot. Get out of bed, dude. I'm trying to look at your stuff. How do I... Can I not, like, scroll down? Oh, he won't trade with me that anymore. I guess I have to go get flint for this guy. But, yeah, I guess... How do I don't know. They changed a bunch of stuff with the trading. I guess I'll go ahead back to my base and start working on stuff. But anyway, yeah, the tires are going to result in somebody's death eventually. I'm calling it now. It's really dangerous what they're doing with the tires. There's a good chance somebody dies because of this. I don't want to be that guy, you know, that's like, oh, you know, NASCAR is ruining the sport with this or that. But, like, seriously, this tire thing is a big issue that NASCAR has to address moving forward as soon as possible, hopefully. Nashville especially, there was just a tire chilling on the racetrack from Chris Buescher's car. If a driver had come along and launched that tire into the grandstands, there would be dead fans. And, you know, with NASCAR, and I'll get into NASCAR's lack of calling cautions here in just a second. But, you know, with NASCAR not throwing yellows for things that are clearly, you know, incidents that need a yellow, I think it's safe to say that, you know, it's a very, very dangerous thing to be having these tires out there on the track like that. Just chilling out there on the racing surface. So, let me go smelt some of this. What did I need to combine again? I'm going to use some of the smelted iron to fix my sword. I think I'm just going to go with a iron sword because it's got the fire aspect. There we go, sharp 3. Alright, I'm going to make my leggings. I'm going to make these leggings prot 3 when I have the levels for it. But in the meantime, let me just see if I can, like, max durability. Oh, never mind. I can't do that yet. Okay, well, anyway, as I was saying, NASCAR really has to work out these tire issues because somebody's going to get hurt. It's not a question of will somebody get hurt, it's when somebody is going to get hurt. And it is a fact. Somebody is going to get hurt because of the tires. Somebody's going to get hurt from it. Actually, let me grab stuff so that way I can go trade with that villager. But yeah, somebody's going to get hurt, and NASCAR has to do something about it going forward. Second issue that I have with the next-gen car, and actually, I guess actually, yeah, I can get into that now. The second major issue that I have with the next-gen car, which there aren't a whole lot of them that I have with it, but definitely one that I do have. Oh yeah, I forgot I can't trade iron anymore. I have to do gravel. So, yeah, let me, I'm going to have to go ahead and make another iron shovel here. I just shoved my dog down the stairs. There we go. Now I can go mine up some gravel, and then let me get efficiency on this thing. Do I not have any more lapis left, or did I just stick it upstairs? I do. I don't know why I didn't just put it with the enchantment crap. Here we go. But anyway, yeah, so I'll leave the... Oh no, I'll leave the iron downstairs because I'm too lazy to go put it up. So yeah, NASCAR, they're really in a bad position with the tires. But another thing that they're in a bad position with, in my personal opinion at least, I think that NASCAR really needs to, with this next-gen car, also pay attention to the independent rear suspension. So that's something else that we've noticed at the plate tracks and really every track this season. But the biggest detriment it has is the short tracks. For those of you who don't know why the short track racing is bad, the independent rear suspension has a lot to do with it. So an independent rear suspension basically means that the front and the rear of the car can be set up differently. And this just basically means the car is going to go faster through the corner. Less time under brakes, more time on throttle. So basically it means faster in the corners, slower on the straightaways, which with the stock cars, never what you want. You know, we had this problem with the 2019 Aero package at the intermediates, and now we're getting something like that at the short tracks. So the independent rear suspension, I don't really know if anybody, at least fans, you know, I don't know if any fans were ever even asking for that. NASCAR, it's just kind of one of the changes for the next-gen car that they just went ahead and did, regardless of whether actually, you know, whether the change was actually wanted or not. Although, you know, when has NASCAR ever cared if a change is wanted? Yeah, it's not good. Especially because, you know, the chassis roll aspect. If you guys are wondering why the cars just like would randomly snap on people, that's one of the reasons why. But a big issue with it also is just faster in the corners. They can just kind of, sorry for the on there, but they can basically just throw the car off into the corner now and it will stick. And, you know, they don't really have to work the car through the corner as hard as they were before. You know, I know that like tracks like Auto Club and whatever, it was really cool to watch them slide around and people were making mistakes and stuff, but now that they've got the setups done, now the car's just basically on edge all the time, but it's controllable. It's just annoying. I keep mispressing keys here. I'm just trying to get enough gravel to go trade with that villager, because he won't take my friggin' iron anymore. I guess I can do that at the village, just to see what else this guy wants. And then also, I need to go back into the mines, and I need to go grab, I need to go get some more, I need to go get some more diamonds, so that way I can get a diamond helmet and go to the nether, because I really don't want to go unless I'm like full diamond, because then I can do the piglin stuff. I don't want to get, you know, two-shot because I don't have a diamond helmet on. But anyway, so, but yeah, the independent rear suspension is a big problem, especially at like Martinsville. We saw that be a big issue. That's why the short track racing is lackluster at a lot of tracks, is, you know, the independent rear suspension has a lot to do with that. But a big issue, another one, is something that we saw at the plate races become a big problem. And that is the issue of, okay, hang on, actually, let me see. Will this guy trade with me? Nope, that's not enough. I don't know how to scroll down here. I really don't. He won't take that trade anymore. Fine, I'm just going to sit here and mine this gravel until this guy will accept my trades. Man, I wish this was cut clean. I wish so bad this was cut clean. But anyway, so, yeah, dude, this is all for you. I hope you're happy. But anyway, dude, you're gonna get whacked in the face with the shovel if you keep getting in front of me again. Anyway, so, yeah, the independent rear suspension is a problem, but an issue we noticed on the, or at least I noticed on the plate tracks, that is something that I voiced, you know, a while ago, but it's not something that a lot of people talk about. It's the rear bumper. So if everybody remembers, every bumper on the Gen 6, at least by the end, was completely flat the whole way across. Completely flat rear bumper. Not necessarily the front bumper, but the rears were completely flat. This was to aid the pushing at the plate tracks. With the next-gen car, all the bumpers are rounded off. Now, I know that this is more, stock car, you know, whatever. I get that aspect. I understand. It makes it look more like a stock car. But the problem is, it also results in more wrecks. Look at Brad Keselowski. He caused, what was it, 2 big ones in the Daytona 500? Because what happens is when you're pushing on exit and the rear bumpers no longer line up, then you're going to spin them out. And that's exactly what he did. He spun out whoever was in front of him. And, man, I really should have used more, made more iron shovels. But, yeah, Keselowski caused 2 decent-sized wrecks. I swear, if I keep pressing that button. He caused 2 pretty big crashes. All because he was just trying to help the car in front of him. He didn't mean to wreck anybody. He was just trying to give him a push. I'm going to throw myself off a bridge if I do that again. But, yeah, he was just trying to help. And he ended up spinning out the guy in front of him. So this is a big issue that the teams probably need to sort out with NASCAR. I understand NASCAR wants the stock car aspect. That's something, you know, it's a big part of what they did with this car. They said it's putting the stock back in stock car, which, I mean, that's a lie, but, you know, whatever. Oh my gosh. Anyway, you know, it's a lie, but, you know, whatever. NASCAR can say whatever the heck they want, I guess. Alright, well, that has to be enough gravel. Shoot, where's the darn blacksmith? Where'd he go? Where's the one-eyed pirate? Is he just, like, walking around the forest now? Did he go in a house? Where the heck did he go? It's like right here. It's probably just me. I'm probably just stupid. But anyway, here, buddy, I'm just raiding these guys' houses. I'd say I hope they don't mind, but I mean, I really don't care. Yeah, that's definitely something that NASCAR needs to look into with the rounded bumpers. It's not really that big of an issue with a lot of tracks, although actually that kind of segues into my next issue with the next gen car, the body rigidity. Now a lot of this has to do with the suspension and the independent rear suspension, but I never thought I'd be saying this after, you know, watching the Gen 6 for so long. This car has no give in it. No give at all. If you get in an incident with somebody, you're in trouble because the car does not have any give. Alright, I'm just going to look for a cave now. Yeah, this car, I'm going to go back to the place, like the home base, put some stuff away, and then I'm going to go back, get back on the road. But yeah, it's got no body rigidity. Well, it's got a lot of body rigidity and not a whole lot of give to it. First off, this is obviously bad for, you know, when you're involved in a wreck. There's been many wrecks this season where you'll see somebody even just slightly back it into the wall, and the car will just, the back will crush a little, but like the actual overall suspension of the car hits really hard and really tough. And you know, this car, it does not look as safe as the Gen 6. We saw, you know, we've seen big wrecks, you know, with the Gen 6 car that, you know, drivers easily just got up and walked away from. But with this one, I don't know, the wrecks just look like they're more violent. The wrecks look like they are just much, much worse than they were. It might be an optical illusion, but to me, they look worse. And I don't seem to be the only one thinking this, because I've seen many people online agree with that. That the wrecks with the next gen car just seem bad. They seem worse than a lot of the wrecks with with the Gen 6 and the Gen 5, even the Gen 4. So, but I don't like, and this is another issue with the independent rear suspension, and it kind of ties into the body rigidity. NASCAR, sold this car. One of its big selling points was that it's, super durable. These guys can go out there and beat and bang and rough each other up and make a ton of contact, and the car's not going to break. Well, that's not true. I mean, we've seen these guys be able to make some contact, yes, that is true, but it's also not good because they can easily just break off the independent rear suspension. Every time you hear about a driver having a toe link break, that is a fault of the independent rear suspension. The rear and the front suspension are connected using a toe link. And when that's knocked out of place, you're out of the race. So, these guys, I mean, we'll see them barely, like, look at Keselowski in the Nashville race. He didn't even hit the wall that hard. And it broke his toe link. And, that's another reason why I don't like the independent rear suspension, is the freaking toe link issues are just stupid. But now we get into another thing, and this is the last I think I'll talk about with the next gen specifically. Well, actually, there are a couple other issues, but this one kind of ties into the last one I was talking about with the damage, or the, what is it called? The independent rear suspension issue, of going faster in the corners, slower on the straights. The last issue is the bigger tires. The tires, one, it affects the suspension, it's just different, but also the tires make you basically, now you're able to go faster in the corners, put more load on those tires, and that's a problem. Faster in the corners, slow on the straightaways is not a good idea. This big old tire, it just doesn't work very well for a NASCAR. And, I mean, it's not as big of an issue as some of the other things. But once again, if you're wondering why the drivers are able to go faster in the corners, like Martinsville or whatever now, is because the brakes on these cars are 30% stronger. I believe it's, 30% stronger with this car than they were with the last one. Which, once again, means less time on the brakes, more time on the throttle. Not good. I mean, like, seriously, it's a wonder to me how people heard about this next-gen car, and then we see videos going up all over YouTube about, what happened at Martinsville? What went wrong? People trying to analyze what went wrong. It's like, geez, you should have seen this coming as soon as NASCAR announced the specs of this car. I did. Except back in, like, freaking summer 2021 when the cars were announced. And this is not me saying, oh, I'm an engineering master, I know everything there is to know about stock cars and I'm so smart. I shouldn't have been like the only person to see this coming. It's not like this came out of the blue completely and that this was something totally unexpected. If you didn't see this coming, then you clearly were not paying attention, because this was the most likely outcome. Alright, where's the blacksmith? Come on, where's the blacksmith? Well, this is just lovely. Anyway, but yeah, everybody should have seen this coming, but, it's the NASCAR fan base, so, I don't really know what all I could ask for at this point. You got to ask the NASCAR fan base. Asking NASCAR fans to pay attention to anything is quite a tall task. Are you trying to avoid me? All right, whatever. I'm gonna go mining. I'm trying to get enough to like max out this guy to the next level, but he won't take the trades anymore, and I'm not doing the, like, big trade for the emeralds. No, dude, you can screw off with that trade. Anyway, now I guess I got to get even more flint. Yay! Anyway, as I was saying, overall, this car is... oh, and I guess I'll go ahead and mention here as well. The diffuser, I think it's good on the big tracks, bad on the small tracks. On the bigger tracks, it encourages teams to actually hike the front end up, get that off the ground. It helps with the clean air effect, although I think overall it would be better gone if we could just up the power. And then 670, I actually don't think 670 is the problem. I don't think that at all. You know, the Xfinity cars only have 650, if I remember correctly. Now, I know that their engines are unrestricted, and the Cup engine is, so I think 750 would still be better. Obviously, the more the merrier when it comes to horsepower. But in all honesty, I don't think the 670 is as big of a problem as, you know, the stronger brakes and the independent rear suspension. But, you know, we'll see what happens. But now we'll get into the things that I do like. There's the no... Oh, actually, also, I keep forgetting to mention things I don't like. 5 gears is just silly. I think that's what Ross Chastain, the word he used to describe the fact that they were shifting at Martinsville earlier this year. You know, shifting on the ovals everywhere but Pocono and maybe Phoenix. Shifting anywhere other than those two tracks is just silly. It's ridiculous to think that they're shifting at, you know, Martinsville. They were grabbing 2 gears at Gateway, going down to 3rd. It's just ridiculous. Once again, that basically makes them faster in the corners. It's just a joke. If you're wondering why the Dirty Air is so bad with this, it's because these cars are literally rocketing through the corner, and then they get to the straightaway, and, you know, they've just got nothing left because they're already almost at peak speed. But, you know, I don't see this getting changed, the 5 gears thing. I mean, 5 gears isn't horrible so long as you put the gear ratios to a point where they can't they can't shift, or like it would be slower to shift. But, you know, that's on NASCAR to fix it, and Lord knows they're not going to do anything about it. Anyway, so important stuff about the next gen. Let's get into what stuff I like. There's not much. You know, the backup camera's weird. I think it's interesting. I don't really necessarily know if it's good or bad. It's just kind of interesting. But I do like the fact that they made an attempt to get rid of the side force. So I do like that. And I do like the lower downforce. But in all honesty, that's really it with the next gen. I think everybody's just so happy to have this package back of like lower downforce at the intermediate tracks that everybody's like overselling the next gen. And I'm not saying it's horrible. I think it's good. It's just one of those things where it's like, just because it's good doesn't mean we should stop trying to improve. And once again, we've kind of hit the area where I think that NASCAR is just basically holding itself back at this point. I don't see them fixing really any of the issues. I know that NASCAR is like considering going to, I think, 750 horsepower on the shorter tracks and dropping the diffuser. But in all honesty, that's not the problem. It's with the shifting and the brakes and the independent rear suspension. And that's something that I just don't think that they're willing to fix. I don't think they're willing to change the tire. I don't think they're willing to change the lug nuts. I don't think they're willing to, you know, make the suspension dependent front and rear. I don't think they're willing to do any of that. And as much as that sucks, you know, I don't think we're really going to get that. I think we're, you know, if we go to Nashville, you know, we saw how bad it was, the Dirty Air, Kyle Busch versus Mickey Elliott. You know, if we saw that, I don't think that would have been all that different if they had 750 horsepower and no diffuser. I really don't. I might be wrong, but I don't think I am, because my opinions are not actually opinions, they're facts. And if you disagree with me, then that just, you know, it means you're wrong. I'm kidding, by the way. I'm not an average Twitter user, but still, I don't think NASCAR is going to actually change any of the things that matter with this car. And so I think we're going to end up in an area kind of like the Gen 6 when they were running that awful package towards the end of it, where everybody wanted it changed and NASCAR wouldn't do anything about it. I think that's what we're going to end up kind of being stuck with. in terms of like the package. I think that's basically what we're gonna get stuck with, is a situation where it's better than what we had for sure, but I just don't like that NASCAR. I know that there's no way they're gonna change anything, and that actually I'll get into that with the next gen car right now before I kind of move on a little bit to. Although I've already kind of talked about what I'd change. It's mainly just getting rid of existing stuff. Um, but in all honesty, the next gen's pretty good. It just needs that one or two, changes to it. But now I'll kind of talk about. Also, actually, I will mention this before I move on. I know that in the last episode I talked about NASCAR's officiating and how bad it is, and they proved me right at Nashville Super Speedway. Just wanted to remind everyone, if you don't remember how terrible NASCAR's officiating is, well, here you go. If it had been anybody but Chase Elliott, the caution would have come out there for Brad Keselowski. Although, actually, no. Let me correct myself. I don't think it's really a Mickey issue at this point, because we saw at Kansas Tyler Reddick have a very similar wreck to Keselowski. I mean, he wasn't in the grass, but he was like broken on the racing surface, trying to go a whole lap around with no rear suspension. And NASCAR just looked the other way. So this is not simply a small issue here. This is a big problem. And NASCAR is going to have to figure out what they want to do to fix it, because I know, I don't like it at all. I think that it's a bad change, or it's a bad thing that NASCAR is doing here. But more importantly, NASCAR's really got to get on their A game, because I think they're holding themselves back at this point. Like, that should have been a caution. I think most people can agree, because and I saw people online saying, "Oh, NASCAR's let worse things happen without a caution." It's kind of like the modern day double yellow line issue. Just because NASCAR made a stupid call in the past doesn't mean that they should now be required to continue to make stupid calls to stay with the precedent they set by making a stupid call. They've let many things go without a caution, specifically recently, like Tyler Reddick, Kansas. But that doesn't mean that they should let everything go now without a caution and then just basically deal with it. That's a disastrous mentality. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get a scenario, like we had there. We're lucky Brad was able to stay off the track there. But NASCAR's just been... They'll throw cautions for things that shouldn't be cautions. And then they'll not throw cautions for stuff that's very clearly a caution. And the weirdest part about this is, I don't know why they do this, because, and I think I mentioned this before already, what Cliff Daniels was talking about. I'm just going to go ahead and wait here, and in the next episode I'll go mining, but I remember that, I think it was Cliff Daniels said something about NASCAR needs to be, okay, I gotta step outside here because there's so many dogs. But if I remember correctly, Cliff Daniels said something along the lines of NASCAR needs to basically decide what they want to do in terms of calling cautions, whether they want to, aim towards more cautions or less cautions. Because as of now, man, I guess I gotta go take a nap or something after this. Jeez. But as of now, NASCAR's being absurdly inconsistent. And, back in the day, the mid-2010s, 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, they would call cautions for anything they could. And so, at the bare minimum, teams could plan around that. Now, you have no clue what NASCAR is going to do in terms of throwing cautions. Yeah, it's just, it's annoying, and they really need to clean it up. I know they're not going to get it perfect every time, but this is like almost every single incident this season is called wrong. I mean, like, and the weird thing is they didn't start the season off that bad in the first couple of races. It's really just been later in the season that they'll throw cautions. Like, I mean, think of it this way. Remember Chase Elliott at Auto Club? He spun out when there was like nobody near him due to a broken rear suspension. But they threw the yellow for it. And that was towards the end of the race. Well, we had this incident with Keselowski that didn't get a caution. So, I mean, like, and I'm not making this into a Mickey Elliott thing right now, although you probably could make that argument, but it doesn't even need to be made because regardless of whatever driver it is, you know, Chase Elliott at Auto Club, you could argue, was half the track away from the leaders. It was just a couple laps to go, and he could easily get the car off the track. Even though he had a broken rear suspension, he could pull off onto the apron and limp it around, like Keselowski did. But, you know, they threw the yellow for it. And I agree. I agree with that call. As dumb as I think it is that he basically just spun himself out, I agree that that's a caution. Because when you have a car with a broken suspension, crab walking with literally only 2 tires on the track at once, that's an issue. But the issue is now we're having NASCAR. They called the caution for that correctly, and then they won't call the caution for it when it happens again. And I don't understand why they're doing this. They're shooting themselves in the foot with this. But yeah, I guess that does it. I got distracted there, but I think that pretty much does it for the issues I have with the next gen car. Overall, I think it's a pretty solid car. I like it a lot. But like I said, the changes that I would make is just rip the diffuser off, go to 750 horsepower at every track, link the suspensions, make them non-independent, make it dependent suspensions. Go back to 5 lug nuts with a smaller tire, basically whatever tire they used to run back in like last year. And honestly, I think that's pretty much it. Most of the other stuff can stay. There's stuff I don't super like about it. But in all honesty, I think that if they made those changes, this would be like one of NASCAR's best cars. Now, one thing I do want to mention towards the end of this video here, I guess because this is pretty much the last thing I'll add on this topic. For those of you who don't know, NASCAR, the last NASCAR made a report about it at least, they're still planning to introduce their new hybrid electric engine next year. The last I've heard about it is that they were considering some sort of ERS or push-to-pass system. So I would like to throw my 2 cents into the ring here and say that this engine is the perfect opportunity NASCAR needs to go back to 950 horsepower. And they need to, they should not have ERS or push-to-pass because it's just not a stock car thing. Also, I don't think they really need it. I think it would make road course, pretty much every track, more boring because it would make it easier to make a pass. With this car, especially if you rip the diffuser off, make all the changes I said, then it would have less dirty air problems. But the big issue for me is that NASCAR needs to pay attention to is the NASCAR's excuse as to why we don't have more power right now. Why we've been using at max 750 for the last 6-7 years is because the manufacturers don't see it as a good business idea to be making 900 some horsepower engine cars. So that's why NASCAR hasn't been running high power. So here's the thing. As much as I would love 950, I don't think it'll happen again. But the electric engines is the perfect example. Let's take Chevrolet. Chevrolet is an engine manufacturer in IndyCar. They also are an engine manufacturer in NASCAR. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm pretty sure IndyCar has somewhere between 900 and 1,000 horsepower, discounting any time they're using the push-to-pass. Now, IndyCar, if I'm correct on this, has 650 just horsepower in a normal engine sense. It's just normal engine, regular, I think it's a V6. Just regular 650 horsepower. And then it has a boost electrical kick of about 200 to 250 horsepower that gets it up to around 900. So this is a perfect opportunity for NASCAR. As much as as I and I think many fans would like NASCAR to stick with a big V8 engine, I just don't see that being possible. But even if they do, or if they could stick with the V8, I would take the loss of a V8 engine and take a weird, almost electric, open wheel sounding engine from a NASCAR if the trade-off is a very high horsepower. I will take it if that's the trade-off. And this kind of feeds into a bigger issue that has me worried. The next gen car, it's weird because half the marketing of the next gen car was saying that this is bringing NASCAR back to its roots. It's a stock car, whatever. But then the other half is saying this is the newest car NASCAR's ever run, you know. And the car is basically a glorified IMSA GT3 or GTLM car. So, you know, it's kind of ridiculous. They're trying to play both ways here. But I hope that NASCAR, if they're going to modernize the cars, are going to do it well. Because the thing with the next gen car is all of the new generation aspects of the car are what's bad about it. I mean, if you think about it, the bigger tire with one lug nut makes it match like IndyCar, Formula One, stuff like that. Well, what do you know? That sucks. I'll just go ahead and say it. That sucks. Another thing, the independent rear suspension, making it like a modern sports car race car or something like that. I mean, heck, they're running the darn thing in 24-hour Le Mans. But, you know, they're making it like a sports car with that aspect. The independent rear suspension sucks. You know, so a lot of those changes. The diffuser, I don't think it's as bad as people say it is for the dirty air. But even then, it's not great. So all the new aspects that NASCAR has added to this car are bad. But the old aspects of the car that they have, you know, reintroduced and perfected are good. So I would just ask NASCAR to stop trying to do so many new things and just double down on what works. And what you do know is new and that will probably work, go with it. Example, Road America's a new track, but we know it works. Stay with it. Just got to mention that because it's Road America week, and if this track gets kicked off the schedule for a freaking downtown Chicago street race, I am going to be coping, seething, mauling, crying. I am going to be absolutely popping off, pissed about that change. Anyway, yeah, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want, you can leave in the comments what you guys think of the next gen car. I think I've pretty much nailed down most of what people online talk about with it, but I hope that I at least introduced you to some new ideas of possibly what sucks about it, because I see so many people talking about the diffuser when, like, honestly, it doesn't make that big of a difference. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.